What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XPR network today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are at about 0.004663 dollars on this, the 28th of February, last day of the month. We are looking pretty well, actually. We're looking pretty good on a daily basis. You're up 2%. Bitcoin's down like 5% or like 4%, something like that. So you're holding up versus Bitcoin. Every altcoin, or at least most of them, have seen lower prices. Bitcoin has certainly seen lower lows relative to its range. This thing just keeps holding. And in the video I made earlier, we had a very similar look. My video is muted, so I deleted it. I'm remaking it now so you can hear. If you're not aware of that, that's what happened. But it's not a big deal. The candle, at least at first, it was red / more neutral. It looked more bearish, but this is still pretty bearish looking. And even then, I was saying the same stuff that I'm going to say now. I kind of expect that you break out. I don't kind of. I actually do fully expect you break out to the upside. One way or another, though, something's got to give, because if we're looking at this here on a price or on a chart pattern perspective, you really don't have much more time left in this pattern. You're basically at full maturity, and I don't even think that line's appropriate. It might be more like that, right? One to 4 or 5 days left. Like sometime soon within this next week, you're going to break out. Something's going to give one way or another, and I'm assuming that while today might be bearish for Bitcoin, if we look at BTC USD here, today might be bearish for Bitcoin. I'm assuming that over the coming week and weeks, I think March will be ultimately bullish for Bitcoin. I think it will recover. So if XPR can hold out in this range while Bitcoin does its little dumpy thing here, I think that it will break out to the upside, and I do assume that it will. But let's talk about the downside first, right? Let's talk about that in case it does happen. So from a high here to a low here, you rejected your 786 a couple times. I would think you either find support at 0.0033 or 0.0039, somewhere in that area. If you're to go lower, that's where I think you go. Maybe even go a little bit lower than 0.0033, but I don't think you go below 0.003 itself, okay? If you were to go lower. If this is a pennant, like it looks like it is, the way that you'd measure the pattern is you take the low of the pattern to the high of the pattern, okay? You put this at the breakout point, wherever it would be. I would assume that you're going to break out to the upside, so right there, that would be good for a move that's right out to about 1 cent. It's completely possible that you stop at 1 cent because that's a nice psychological area, even though the expected target would be the 1272. And inevitably, I think that you will go above the 1272, all by the end of March, by the end of April, everything. But you could find some momentary resistance at your measure move at the psychological area of 1 cent. That could be an area that you find resistance at, and you pull back to the 100, you pull back to the 886, somewhere in this zone, you find support, and then you rip and you continue to go up higher, right? Something like that could happen. Or maybe I'm not bullish enough and you go right through the roof anyways. I don't know. Something like that could happen. Let's see here. My expectations would be 1.2 to 1.9 cents are the minimum target areas, right? That's your target zone. That would be about a 160% move from here to about a 321% move from here. And all of that, again, that's expected to happen not over the coming days and weeks, but over probably the coming weeks, month and a half. I think by the end of March, if not sometime in April, maybe end of April, if not mid-April. I fully expect that you could go higher than this too, XPR. You're actually, and this is just, again, this is your minimum target area, the 1272 to the 1618. I think that you will break above the 1618 in this amount of time. So my personal minimum target, even though these are the minimum target areas of the Fibonacci extension zone, my personal minimum target would be something at about 520% to anything from there to about maybe a 17x, 18x, something like that. Yeah, between 8.1 cents to 2.8 cents are possible targets. Now, again, while I don't believe that you stop in this area, it is possible, but this would be my expected minimum target. This would be my expected maximum target, but I don't expect that you necessarily stop at either of them, right? Probably more likely you stop somewhere in between. I'm thinking 3 cents, 5 cents, somewhere in that zone. That sounds about right to me. So XPR over the coming weeks, by the end of March, if not by the end of April, you would see a 7, maybe a 10x, 7x, 10x, 11x, something in that kind of range from the current price. Again, of course, assuming you don't go lower. If you go lower, these targets will change. Okay, if you go lower, maybe it is time to consider this target area instead of the target area above. Okay, you could break out to the downside, and again, we've already gone over those areas. If you do, I just don't think you will. The daily RSI is the one thing that makes me think you could. You do have a nice long uptrend going on here. It would make me think that you go down, but man, you haven't done it. And when you have reasons to go down, but you don't go down, when you have reasons to go down and Bitcoin's going down, but you're actually green on the day where Bitcoin's down, maybe you don't go down, man. You've had plenty. You got all the opportunities to go down. But what about this day? Isn't that a bearish candle? Yeah, it's a bearish candle. You had a bearish candle here right before you ripped. That there was a bearish candle, and then the next day or 2 days later you ripped. You know what I mean? Like here's a bearish candle. You continue going lower, right? Let's see. Here was a bullish candle, then you went down. So I mean, candles can fake you out. Don't bet 100% on just a gravestone doji candle like this. But I do think that you're going to move up. My expectation is that something's going to give soon. You're either going to break out to the upside or downside soon. If you move down, we've gone over those target areas, but I very much do expect you'll move up. You probably find resistance at about 1 cent. You break out really quick, find resistance at 1 cent, check back, find support at these areas that you found resistance at before. Check back, find support, rip, and continue on your path up to something that's probably around 3 cents to 5 cents. That's my guess. At a minimum, 2.8 cents, but probably 3 cents to 5 cents. Okay, I've got nothing else for you guys. We could talk about cycle high targets, right? Cycle high dynamics real quick. This thing's worth 126 million. Nothing that I'm about to say has to happen. Okay, it doesn't have to happen. People will write in the comments, they'll say, C-Zar thinks this thing's going to do a 500x. No. It can do a 500x. Does not mean I think it'll do a 500x, right? I could see it happening. Sure, a 500x from here. What would that? I mean, that'd be a $13 billion market cap times 5. It'd be a $75 billion market cap. Sure, it's possible, right? In one cycle, in your very first bull cycle, yeah, it could happen. We've seen coins do that before, but I just don't think it's likely. So, no offense, but probably a 500x is off the table. A 100x is certainly on the table, right? Because that would be a $13 billion market cap. And while that's not a small accomplishment in itself, it's a very attainable price to hit or a market cap level to hit. 100x from here at the current price would bring you all the way up to 45 cents. If 100x to a 500x is possible, then that next, 45 cents, you double that, you're at 90 cents. So 200x is possible. And I think at that point, we're talking about $1. Maybe that's where you stop. Something that's just over a 200x from this current price of about 0.00453. I could see that happening, man. $1 is a nice psychological area of resistance. Maybe you don't hit $1, but instead you hit 90 cents. Maybe you don't hit 90 cents, you only go to 60 cents, whatever. But something likely, I shouldn't say likely, but my expectation is that XPR is 100x. It has that potential. I would bet that it sees a 100x from here by the end of the cycle, if not more. And if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if I am wrong, maybe we only go to 17 cents, maybe we only go to 32 cents, and from here that would be only a 35x. I know, only a 72x. I know it's not 100x. You're gonna have to go home and cry about it. I know, but on the bright side, what's great about this is ideally, if we only stop here, we wouldn't move up like this and then the cycle's over, right? Likely we would methodically move up until the end of 2025. And if it was the end of 2025, it's like August, September, October, October, November. I don't know why I said September. November, December, whatever. Mainly like late Q3 to early Q4, if not even into late Q4. If we're up in these areas, likely that is your top. But if we're here and it's July, I would think that we have more growth to go. It all depends. It's not necessarily appropriate to I shouldn't say it's not appropriate to talk about these areas. This area, at least between the 1272 and the 1618, I think it's fully called for and appropriate to talk about even now. But to get a better understanding of something that would be above 80 cents, I think we would at least have to wait to see how we interact with this area, both in velocity and then also in timing, right, by the end of this year. So let's just see how long it takes us to get up there. I will grow more confident in prices above $1 or even maybe as high as $2, right? Maybe even there, maybe even 267 is possible. It fits the market cap limits that I could see this thing hitting. But anything in between 267, 80 cents, it's anybody's guess. Even if we hit 80 cents, it's anybody's guess until we interact with this zone, until we're at new highs relative to this. I want to see how it moves up. I love this bottom. I think it's a great bottom. I think you got a great bottom on your XPR. I think you're going to do fine, and you're going to rip all the way up to these highs. But what you do afterwards, that's a little bit unclear to me. So personally, I do expect XPR, you go to about 3 to 5 cents by the end of this move. Minimum target is somewhere around 2 cents, but by the end of the cycle, a lot higher than that. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.